Hello, Benjis. Welcome to the BingeWorthy, a podcast where we binge a TV series or a season in 1 week and let you know if you should binge it or not. I'm your host, Chuck, and with me we have Rakai. Say what's up to people, Rakai.
Hello, Governor.
We have Trey, no stranger to the show. Say what's up to people, Trey.
You
I'm
already know.
Centel.
Oh, Miss Sealy home, baby. Miss Sealy home. Let's go.
And we have one of our special guests, Catherine. Say what's up to the people, Catherine.
What's up? What's up? Hey.
Today we are going over Kizazi Moto, you guys. I
Yes.
know it's been on the list a couple of times, been on and off the list. For you all that have not tuned into our show, we binge a show and we're doing Disney Plus's Kizazi Moto, which is an Afrofuturism series, anthology series. So it's not, you don't have to go from one to the next episode. You can watch it in any order. Made by Triggerfish, which is a studio out of Cape Verde, out of where are they? They're South African.
Cape Town.
Cape Town, South Africa, and also Nigeria. And it's produced by Peter Ramsey out of Crenshaw, California. For you all that don't know, there's eight episodes in this series. The first book, over those 10 episodes. My fault. I'm a little bit sick, you guys, so bear with me. The stories cover everything from Zimbabwe, South Africa, Uganda, Nigeria, Kenya, and Egypt. And they all seem to be more coming of age stories. But as we start our show, we rate our show. And Rodney, if you can, our technical director, could you throw up the ratings what everybody gave it? Okay, 3 binge-worthies and a full meal. So that's a 4.75, and I guess that gives us a binge worthy for the series. Captain, I'm going to start. You're the guest. And you
Yeah.
gave it a full meal. What was some of the impetus of why you gave it a full meal?
I guess it's just like the nature of like most anthologies. You'll have episodes that you'll like more than others.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's just there's a couple episodes where I'm like, okay, this I love that this show exists. I think everyone should watch it. So in that instance, that would be the binge worthy. But if I'm rating it critically, I would say that it's a full meal. Like it has a lot of like great episodes but it has episodes for me that just are like, all right, this is
Didn't hit for you.
Yeah, but I love the diversity in art styles and like just the way they portray different characters. So that's really cool, and just the different regional aspects to it. So,
If you had a favorite episode, if you could recall the name or give us a number, which episode would that be?
I think I liked because it was kind of hard. I did like the gods episode. I also like mythology. So that was like another reason to like it. And I also liked the second one, which is the racing episode. Even though I had a hard time understanding like some of like what they were saying, I loved the visuals. It kind of has a trigger art style, and I think the studio that worked on that one was based out in Ireland. I was looking at all the studios that like worked on each episode. So I guess it'd be between 2 and 9. So
Okay.
pick 2 is called The Spirit Racer.
Cool.
9 is Give Me Your Heart, and maybe start a little bit of Stardust. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Centel, you gave it a binge out.
Yo.
You and I watched it for your channel, actually.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So what was your impetus of giving it to a binge out?
Well, I am a fan of these type of anthologies, these short stories. I'm a super fan of Love, Death, Robots. Animatrix was the first one that really set it off for me. Well, actually, Heavy Metal was the first one that actually set it off. I'm kind of aging myself a little bit. But even Star Wars had their version, and it's about time that I got a chance to see something from the continent. I'm talking about the continent of Africa, because there are some amazing storytellers out there, and to see stories being told from coastal cities, from desert cities, from urban areas, from rural areas, the stories that deal with family, spirituality, technology, globalization, colonization. I mean, they touched on so many things from that point of view. And that's just the storytelling. I'm not even getting into how great some of the characters were, how impressive some of the animation is. I thought Stardust was mind blowing of how well that particular one looked. It just satisfied my curiosity to hear these different types of perspectives about some of the things that we all deal with in just day to day life, especially family.
Okay. So Rakai, you also gave it a binge worthy. What made you give it a binge worthy? What pushed you to give it a binge worthy?
I echo everything that Centel just said and the captain just said. And to rate it critically, I gave it a binge out simply because it was unlike anything I'd seen before. It told, even though, you know, we being African Americans is not even remotely close to the same thing as being from the continent of Africa. But all of the stories I could relate to, they made sense to me. And it's just like where it was a major coup and we had a national rejoicing to see someone who represented us like Black Panther on the screen or even Miles Morales. To see this type of series was fantastic for me. And while some episodes did stand out and were much stronger and resonated higher with me, I also looked at this critically and was like, you know what? These episodes, my kids would really enjoy. My daughter might really enjoy this one. My oldest son might really enjoy this one. My youngest son might really enjoy these. So, and that's where I thought it was, even though I could easily say I like all 10, I just like some better than the other ones. I could also look at where my kids could also enjoy this and get something out of it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Triggerfish is a relatively, I would say, newish animation studio. I think they've been around for about a decade or so now, maybe a little longer. And they actually went to other countries and allowed their storytellers and animators work on these projects, which is shocking. It wasn't just all South African animators working on these projects, or writers. So that's very, very impressive. I gave it a binge worthy because I've never seen anything like this before on television. You know, 10 different properties from South Africa. They all coming of age stories, which is usually the first outing for any writer. Is usually a coming of age story. Everybody has to get that out of them. And I think is very needed for us right now. I mean, the coming of age stories that because they're usually concerned around African Americans in particular aren't that good. They revolve around basketball gang banging and some drug dealing on the side. And this was something that was different. That was very nurturing. There was a parental figure always there, and it was children learning who they really are and what they really wanted to be, not what the streets made them. So that made me feel really good about it. And most important stuck to me was the look of all of these animation properties. Like I could see sometimes there was amateur hour going on, but that's the growing pains of a studio. You know, if I look at the Clone Wars when they first came on, that animation was kind of horrendous initially.
Wait, Gendy Turtazowski?
No, not that one. That's
Okay, I'm about to say
not that. No, not Gendy's animation. Gendy does and he Chef Kiss animation. I'm talking about the 3D animation, the clone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the first when the Singapore studio started up,
Yeah.
it was rough at first. It was rough, but I enjoyed it. And so seeing that some of these studios were there and some of these studios was far beyond stuff I've even seen in Pixar is amazing to me. And all of them had distinct art styles, and they stuck. They ran with them.
Even the ones to me, even the ones that had amateur hour animation style, the story fit that amateur hour, which made me also think, I was like, okay, this animation doesn't look as good as the other ones, but is that on purpose because it fits the story? So I don't know if that's the case or not, but it fits, so I let it go.
Yeah. I think that may be part of it as well because it all fit, it all worked, which is very impressive. like Herder Boy. Let me start with the first one, Herder Boy, not to spoil it.
Wait a minute.
Not first.
Before you do that, let me just throw out because and I didn't say it on my turn. I apologize. My favorite episodes.
What is your favorite episodes?
Makutsi, which was the one I want to say it was the little boy who was a tagger. He was a graffiti artist, and he went to the future Zimbabwean utopian society in the future.
Yeah,
I thought that one was dope. Yeah, episode 6. And I also really liked Stardust was so dope. I think that's like 8 or something like that.
Stardust number 8. Yep.
But the one I also really liked too was the final one, Inky, where the little girl with the powers just wanted her mama, just wanted to be with her mama, and didn't realize that her mama's out here like trying to save the world and stuff. Like, I thought that was a dope take on, we all say that we're, superheroed out, and that the way that they kind of did that was kind of dope.
Okay, yeah. For that one, that's Mother Nature. That's Mother Africa trying to protect herself.
Yeah.
And those kids, they didn't want to be protected. And so the daughter made a place for us. I love that one. That one was mind blowing in the animation style. When she stepped outside and when she was supposed to, and how it changed, I was like, wow.
Yeah, there was like elements of like stop motion, like cut frames in a way, like the stylistic choice, which is interesting. But also this idea of like you don't have to like be it feels like a workaholic message too, like constantly working and like giving yourself time to relax and take a break and step back. So, and
also I think what was also cool about it too was the little girl wanted her mother so much, and she knew that her mom was doing important stuff, but she wanted so much that she kept working on it. She kept working on making a place where it was safe for her and her mom, and eventually she ended up having to save her mom. Like, that was, I love that story, and I thought it was a perfect way to end this particular set of stories in this anthology.
I thought them selecting that one to be the final episode was interesting because it kind of deals with corporations destroying the land, and if you've been paying attention to what's going on the continent in general, that is exactly what's happening. A lot of resources are being exploited. Land is being stolen. The people have kind of been pushed to the side because it is a treasure trove of resources. The continent is as a whole, and the rest of the world is like kicking it in full gear to get that. So to end this whole anthology with that episode, and then seeing like the spirit of Africa having to be like, well, who I interpreted the spirit of Africa was like, I got to be out, maybe try something else. That was interesting. That was the choice, So I'd be curious to know if there is like a bit of a deep dive regarding that episode as to why she left, or would she go back, or is he like you throwing your hands up in the air kind of thing, or it just left interesting questions.
It felt like humans need to resolve the conflicts they created type of message. Like humans created this problem and they need to resolve it. That's kind of how I felt. Like what that was like. Got to clean up our own mess.
Yeah.
So, but also, capitalism and a bunch of other things that were in there too, incorporate corporate greed. So
I also felt like there was only so much that she could do. Like, if you believe, that the earth itself will cleanse itself, and there's always a mechanism through nature to take care of things like this. But, at the end, there was only so much that, Mother Nature, the spirit of Africa, there's only so much that she could do, where it's almost her daughter had to create a new utopia somewhere for them to thrive, because you can't help anybody if you're dead. So.
Yeah. You can't help a place that's dying.
Yeah. You can't work if you're dead.
Yeah.
That too. So, not work or take vacation.
So there's no chance that we don't know if they're going to go back there eventually and clean it up. We don't know that. One thing I found very interesting of this series, this anthology, this first book, they call it Generation Fire. There was a lot of water. Like most of the
That's true.
had water.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite fire there. Herder Boy, I was like, okay, when I first saw it, they had no water. I was like, it's land. And I thought that was brilliant. I thought the way they did everything in that. Even the top hatted guard.
Oh, I love the
Oh,
robot.
he was amazing.
We need more like robots that have the voice of the region where they were created versus Siri voice. Kind of like Black Panther did it, and now this is doing it, and I like it.
I like. Go ahead.
I picked up something a little interesting regarding just the name, the Generation Fire. It immediately reminded me of a James Baldwin, because he had a book called The Fire Next Time. And it was like, the flood came first. God spoke to people. It was like, y'all tripping. I'm about to wash all of this away. And James Baldwin kind of like relates, the fire next time. Like, God is like, if I have to smite y'all again, it's not going to be water. I'm bringing the fire this go around. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. Generation Fire. It's like, we're not gonna. This is a whole different level of getting this message out, as if God is giving His message out. I doubt that's how it connected, but that's just how it felt to me with that.
Well, see, I took it from the aspect of that. It's real easy to discount and not discredit, but to kind of easily look over this particular generation and say, they're not like us, and with all the problems with this generation, but that there's actually some fire in this generation. That some of these kids and some of these youngins have something about them, and they have indomitable will. Some of them, that it's easy for us to overlook. So this kind of take it that the next generation kind of taking charge.
Can I piggyback something just to kind of segue into another short that I thought was dope that ties in what you're saying, and that was what is it? You Give Me Heart. I think that's the one with the gods and the social media.
Yep.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
I thought that was. I mean, we're very privy to social media in here in the Western world, but to see the context of it over there. And the importance of it, that these social media people are considered gods in a sense, because they have so much power over the masses, and to see a narrative from I'm assuming is from a younger creator tackle that, I thought that was dope.
It was about a kid who's going to become the god of creativity on social media. And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, wow, this is a great way to handle. It made me think of the TV series American Gods.
Yeah.
Social media, new media became the new media became the social media god, replaced old media.
Yep. And
See, with that episode, I love that episode, and since I'm a history professor and one of my fortes is mythology, I love diving into stuff like that. But I wondered at first when I saw the episode, I was like, was that like a collaboration with American studios? Just because America, the Western culture, we are the celebrity pumpers or whatever. We're the ones that go out of our way and make celebrities, D-list, social media celebrities, make them our gods, quote unquote. And I guess that part of the world is also catching up with that. There's a reality show that's like the #1 show in Africa for a long time. Young, Rich, and African or something like that, and it features like it's basically Love and Hip Hop Africa or whatever. It's the same shit featuring some young, influential African adults, and it's some some ratchet African bullshit. But like
it wins everywhere and on every level.
Yeah,
I think it's just across every culture. It's just that is it. Like Japan is slightly different, but they do have idols, and they do worship these idols. Worship to the point where these idols cannot show their real lives at all. So you have idols that are married with children, and nobody knows it because
are K-pop stars like that.
Some of their J-pop stars, but they have a category called J-idols. They've always idolized these girls. They're men that have the posters on the wall, and they idolize them, and they worship the ground they walk on. They literally worship the ground they walk on. and that when they find out that they're normal humans, they go crazy and try to kill them.
What?
Yeah, it's why it's
What? Are they trying to kill them? What?
some people freak, some men freak
Slow
out,
down.
and
That's the new
still they're like,
Dexter. What
yo,
is that?
they're like, yo, she's my idol. I don't believe she got married or she's dating somebody. She's purity. She's perfection. Why would she do that? This always been it's been a thing since when I lived there. It was been a thing. Idols.
Reminds me of
They go
Whitney,
idol.
reminds me of Whitney Houston and a Bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? People stalking you and going crazy. And
Yeah. I mean, we our celebrities go through it here too, right? But they have the paparazzi following them and whatnot. And in Japan, the idols, the celebrities don't get paid a lot because they like give everybody gifts and they share their wealth. But in America, we don't have that at all. We think that being a celebrity means you're wealthy.
mm-mm.
We automatically assume that. We don't see the agent, we don't see the lawyers, we don't see the accountants, we don't see the management.
See the bad contract you signed when you were
We don't see any of that.
we don't see how your parents have been getting you on since you were young.
Like Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting too because the continent as a whole is really making a really large steps in the world of entertainment. Like
They are.
Like Afrobeats is killing it globally. And I can't remember, at least I don't remember in our generation, our lifetime, where there's been such a large export of entertainment coming from the continent.
So not only that, the one thing that we don't realize is really outside of America, and even though he's got a couple hits here, pseudo hits, Burna Boy is like the #1 artist in the world right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Easily.
Yeah. And that's not up for debate.
But Nigeria has more billionaires than anybody else, more millionaires, black millionaires than anywhere else on the planet. They have more doctors, they have more engineers, they have a lot going on there. They have a really vibrant art scene, and they're to the point where they're like, "Hey, if you're African American, you come here, we'll give you a free passport. We'll give you citizenship here. We're just gonna give it to you."
And then they have their own, the new Nollywood. It's Hollywood, Bollywood. They got a whole Nollywood thing, and that is also government supported.
Yep, and it's Netflix supported.
Oh, absolutely.
Netflix dropped like $300 million into Nigeria.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't South Korea do the same thing with their entertainment? It kind of like the government was like, "We'll pump money into this.
We'll pump money into it."
Also, Netflix supported.
Also Netflix supported. Yeah, but Korea realized that. Guess how they realized it? Through breakdancing. They produced the #1 breakdancing squad in Battle of the Year. Battle of the Year. Yep. They have a competition called Battle of the Year. And Korea was crushing it. Finally beat the Filipinos because Filipinos were crushing everybody. Then Korea was like, let's get some of the guys that are in the military that break dance and bring them back out and put them back into breakdancing.
Yes, and I know all about Battle of the Year too. And the most interesting thing is the United States ain't had a chance of a candle in a windstorm
in a long time.
The originator of this, he was like, "Yeah, we passed your love eons ago. Like we are."
Yeah. So we have this. So we see the continent actually making strides, and watching Triggerfish is like they're going to catch Mappa eventually. They're going to catch a lot of good animation studios.
I'd like to see that happen. But I wouldn't count on it anytime soon.
Nah. I wouldn't count on it anytime soon too.
But I would like to see that happen. I legitimately would like to see that happen.
Yeah, because Mappa was like, hey, we got some of the best Japanese animators, but we also go to Korea and we hired the whole entire studio of the Boondocks that did Naruto. They worked on Naruto too.
Yeah, they did the Simpsons too for a little bit.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we're gonna take that. We're gonna buy that studio. We're gonna buy that studio.
Yeah.
We're gonna Hung Park. We're gonna buy his studio. And we're gonna buy it and just produce stuff. It's interesting that they have done this. They're doing this in 3 dimension. What makes it really interesting about this is they have 3D animation, they have 2D animation, and they have 3D 2D animation.
Yeah, they got a lot of styles and like hybrid.
Yeah, it's interesting that Disney put this much money behind something like this. Probably not a lot of money because it's in Africa.
Yeah.
You know, the discount just because of region, but the fact that it's there.
They do.
I like that. Like I like how just diverse even like what the characters' careers and what they were doing, like from surfing to farming
Yes.
to
Graffiti artist.
yeah,
Social
and then,
media.
yeah, you had two social media, like you had the what was it, the episode what was it called, episode 6, and then you episode 9 had dealt with social media, but also different things.
Yeah, I liked episode 6 social media too.
Yeah,
It was so good.
I liked the part where they were talking about this is what Zimbabwe would have looked like had colonization not happened. I thought that was kind of dope, and it was like it looked like Wakanda. That's not always the best parallel for somebody that's from the continent, but here in America, Wakanda is like top tier. So I mean that as a compliment. Yeah.
Did you see the sign in the background saying "Donate to Canada"?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah, like
yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant because you got to think about it. If colonization didn't happen, America wouldn't be what it is. Nothing in North America would be what it is. South America might be what it is.
The European countries wouldn't be what they are.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Like France wouldn't be non-existent today.
France is still raping them to this day.
They're raping them to this day.
Sorry, what?
France forces every African nation that's Francophonian to donate 80% of their gross national product to them.
Wow.
That's why France can go on revolutions every 2 to 3 years and say, hey, we're not working past 61 because they have all the continent of Africa work. They have like the northeast side of Africa is working for France, basically.
It's also probably why like there's so many African countries that speak French.
French, yes. And they tell them, if y'all stop paying us, we're going to blow you up.
But eventually somebody's going to call that bluff, kind of like how Haiti called that bluff.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to call that bluff. Like, okay, word. I'm waiting to see Cameroon or Morocco. Hey, you know what? We're going to just call the bluff. Blow us up. We dare you. Bring your military here if you want to.
Oh man,
it's all happened to America and the Middle East. They're fighting guys but had farm tools up in the mountains. 20 years later, they left. So it's just interesting. It's really interesting. Military might is not the same amount of threats anymore, and a lot of those Francophone countries are because there's people inside those countries that benefit from colonialism, imperialism. So yeah, but I do like the idea that there are a broad spectrum of jobs, like from herder boy to graffiti artists trying to get popular on the net.
It's like parkour graffiti artists or something.
Yeah. Like,
and then that episode also had some elements of time travel in it that I thought were really interesting. Like the little girl who disappeared was the girl who was in the Utopian, and then she came back to her mom. Like, that was some wild shit, and it was handled actually very well.
Yeah. I thought that was a really good episode. Like you're the reason, but that one woman was out there crying, and she thought she lost you.
Yeah,
she wasn't hurt that you left. She thought you disappeared. You died. She's not mad at you.
That kind of set the tone for this conversation regarding like the importance of family for me and what I saw in this. One of my favorites was First Totem Problems. With the woman who's going to become an adult but she can't do it unless she speaks with her elders. I loved that. It's something about that, about going back to the spiritual.
Didn't get a totem from either side of her family, like
right.
That basically made her like a loser to everyone or whatever. But she wasn't gonna take that. Like, yeah, that one was dope.
She took both totems.
She took both.
You know what I'm saying? Like grandfather was there, like, she's taking my totem. And the grandmother on the other side was like, nah, she's taking my totem.
That one had a very high comedy element too, to
Mhm.
it too. Like that one was actually really good. I think the other one that was really strong on family was the second episode, Spirit Racer, where
Yeah.
the girl was ashamed of her mother, and like that one was great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very like kind of Studio Trigger, like
Mhm.
very kinetic, energetic, and like really pushing the I guess the designs in animation like
That was
stylistically.
very Studio Trigger. It was like very kinetic and fast. I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah. Um sorry.
What else stood out to you guys? The character, we know we got the stories. They're mostly coming of age stories, and they're all slightly different.
I love
I love the surfing story.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
loved it. I love the fact they pretended to be in water until he got out into real water and what was out in the real water.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I think the thing that stood out to me too is especially when you do anthology series like this, like
Mm.
all of the stories are not very strong, but these stories were all very, I mean, yes, they were short. They're all
Mhm.
15, 16 minutes a piece. So, you know, they didn't give us too much. Um, but I thought that all of the stories, regardless of the style or the protagonist, the stories were really strong, and that the voice acting that went along with them was actually very strong as well. Like
Mhm.
they were very well thought out and very properly done. And you know, you think about especially Disney putting some money behind it, you're like, okay, it should be solid. But being that this is an effort coming out of Africa, you expect like, oh, well, it might not be that sharp, but this was incredibly sharp and very well done.
Yeah. They also had very strong design language throughout each episode. Lots of like details and characters and technology. It wasn't just kind of thrown together, but you can tell that there is a lot of thought and a lot of backstory to each episode. Um, I just really like the designs a lot. They're really cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Stardust to me was like the stunner as far as like looks is concerned. I'm not sure which house that was out of, but or which country that was out of. Well anyways, and
I
the
think
story.
it's out of
I think I was out of South
Egypt.
Africa. That was out of Egypt.
I think so.
Well,
Egypt or Morocco?
Egypt or Morocco, yeah.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, because it did have that West African feel.
Yeah.
Right. And even the people, that was another word where even the look of the people shifted as well.
Yeah.
Like there's and a lot of the other ones, you know, those look like me, you know, walking around here. But that one, it shifted. It was some people. I think the lead she was a lot more light skinned.
Yes,
She had
definitely more Middle Eastern African.
Right. So, and that's the thing about the continent. It's so many different. It's a big place. You gonna see a lot of different things, and we got a chance to see like that West African kind of feel. And I liked the idea of the totem telling you your path, and then her not necessarily getting hers, and then what does that mean? Or does she become like the next elder that hands these things out? I like stories that kind of like that deal with destiny sometimes. And can you control your stars? You know, those kind of things.
But if you look at like that story, so that one Stardust, let's say the one with the surfer, let's say let's say the Stardust, that one, there was another one that I was just thinking about where the one with the first totem problems, where the protagonist did not let destiny dictate for them what they were going to do. Like they took matters into their own hands. Like they had a certain determination and grit in them that we don't see a lot of in our cinema and things over here like that. Like it's very few and far between that keep pushing on regardless. You know, we get we get more so we get mystified when you see, like King Richard, and you see, oh, the little Williams girls, they overcame so much to, become the people that they became. And that to us is almost a superhero story. You watch all these things and stuff, but to me and watching this, it seemed like, no, this is more commonplace for us to not just accept the hand that we have dealt with and keep pushing forward until we get a satisfying result anyway. That's my takeaway from it.
Yeah.
How did you all feel about the depiction of women? For me, I felt like the motherly roles were really strong. There was a lot of mothers that were like, making sure that they were being proper influences to their children. There was one that was a really good one. Marami, is that the one with the mother that sacrificed herself in order to save her child, and the child is talking to like that weird bird looking thing? I thought that one was really good too. And I was just curious as to either the mother figures or just parental figures as a whole. Well, Catherine, let me ask you: what do you feel like women were properly supported in some of this, or anything?
I felt like 6 and I think 9 kind of had like outside of the mother episode roles, which I thought were well portrayed and really nice. Like, I think 6 and 7 delved more into like individual female like characters. Oh, yeah, and 5 totem problems. And I guess 10 too. Well, there's a mother, but there's a daughter, and then Stardust also has like a female character too that's doing her own thing. So there's definitely a good like mix of things. It is more family focused, but there were episodes where there were like individual coming of age characters. So like I felt like it was good. Like it was a good diverse range. It was just very like it was a pretty wide range in like things that I was not expecting. So
I thought episode 7 stood out with women.
oh yeah, that one.
It started off as the mer boy. And you find out how they became mer people.
Yeah.
Where they came from. And that story was like, wow.
Yeah. I like that one. That was like
so good.
Also like the character designs of those characters too. And just the way it was portrayed was really nice. Yeah.
That story was really strong. And like look at Wakanda Forever, what they aspired to be.
Yeah.
Minus the weird CGI.
We could have got something better for Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about that right now. We're talking about
I did not think about this until you just said this. I know that in Hollywood, it has been the latest push for a couple years now with basically girl power. Women empowerment, and let's make women the hero and all of this, the damn, the men or whatever. But in these, we did see really strong women and strong, female characters. And we did see like elders, where the elders were extremely important, but that is part of the culture. But where were the men? Like, the fathers and the strong male characters. And it's like, I didn't think about it until this discourse we just had. I was like, wait, there were a lot of strong females and strong mothers, but where are the men at? Like,
the same place where Disney puts all the mothers. They dead somewhere.
Oh no!
They got killed off like the beginning of Up or something like that.
Like Bambi's mom. Disney has a tendency to do that. Get rid of the mothers quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even in the
classic.
Even in the episode 7, the father died. So.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like they were fighting I guess in episode 2 they had the racer guy, but that wasn't, that was more of an antagonist. And
yeah.
I think in Herder Boy they had like some positive male figures. Well, he was a robot, and then there was the other older dude,
older black dude. Yeah, the muscular.
Well, and I'm assuming the robot's male. It could be female for all I know.
He's non-binary.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's a robot.
It's a robot. Because in real life he is absolutely binary, but, but that's not how he identifies.
See what you did there.
Even in Mizui, the spirit race, I thought that was really good. Even the male figure there, where he's like, "Look, I'm gonna come back and challenge you again.
Yeah.
This is what I've been looking for. Y'all bought your neighborhood, the battle your mama, because I take over the neighborhood. That's what I really want. But you gave me a good race, so I'm gonna come back for you."
There's a lot of like, cool energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is like I really like it, but sometimes like so I have attention deficit disorder, and sometimes it's just like too much. Like Studio Trigger has a couple of movies that they have where it's just like, oh my gosh, so much is happening, and I can't focus on like one thing. But I like how like kinetic it was. It really goes with the theme like of racing and fast, and just the angularity of the characters. Like designs are really nice too.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
they need to let Triggerfish work on some Fast and Furious stuff.
Yeah.
I like that moment when they hit hyperspeed and how they changed the art style for the hyperspeed. I thought that was really dope. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's cold actually. Let's work with that. Let's keep that going.
I love
Speaking of art styles, did any of the art styles stand out to you as bad that you're like, I wish they wouldn't have done that?
So I know like you liked totem problems, but I felt like that was too much like Disney's Owl House. So like it kind of took me out. I'm like, okay, I feel like I've seen this style a dozen times. But it was interesting. It just kind of like took me out a little
Cow
bit.
arts.
Wait, which one?
The cow art style. It's like cow art style. That's what they call it.
Yeah, the Cal Arts. I guess so. Even though that's elements of I think Disney and older Disney, like I guess what is it, Rubber Hose and other styles.
Yeah, everybody took it's cow arts. Like no, it's
No,
no, it's not.
yeah.
No, it's not.
I think that one, and I know there's another one. I just can't remember. I think it was mostly just like five, but a lot of them I mostly liked, especially two and I 2 and 7. I like a lot of the 2D style. Like I like the 3D ones; they're really strong. But I also like the 2D, just the character designs, especially with 9 and the gods. Like they were playing with shapes a lot. Like characters had like they didn't skimp on the proportions for characters. They went you had it. So they had a lot of curves. So it's kind of like even what was it, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? People had curves. Like people had very curvy. So I'm glad curves are in for
Yeah.
So
how about for Yurakai or Sintel? Is there any art styles that didn't do it for you or something that just jammed like, yeah, that's my jam? I see 2 hours there. I can watch 2 hours of that.
Probably as far as that's my jam, Stardust and UT. Okay. I really, really, really like those art styles. I could watch feature length projects in those. I do agree that first totem problems, the cow arts and the kitty style, but the story was so strong. The only thing I thought watching that, I was like, my daughter would love this story, and for kids or young teenagers, I just thought that style of telling a story would resonate a little bit more with her just right now. I don't know. I think the only other one probably that kind of took me out a little bit was the kinetic nature of Spirit Lake. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Not that I have. I probably do have some adult form of ADD or something like that, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. Like, I had to kind of stay focused on the story and what was going on. It was too much. Now, in my younger days, I'd have went back and watched the episode like 9 times and looked for all these different little things I didn't see the first time I watched it, because now I'm watching different parts of the screen. But yeah, now that I'm old, it's
Yeah. That's episode 2. Well, I love the art style. I agree. Like there are moments where it's like too much, and that's like the Studio Trigger. I think there's a movie that they have, and I can't remember what it's called, but it had Yes, that was I.
What movie?
Leo Trigger Pro Mayor.
That was a lot. That
Lot.
I'm like, I can't watch. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just like I need to look at a wall. This is a lot.
He's like, we discovered 3D engine. We're gonna rotoscope everything.
Oh my god.
The camera never stopped.
Yeah.
Swooping the whole entire time.
It reminds me of what you saying that with Attack on Titan when Mappa picked up, and then the swinging style when they were on their 80 with the gear with the
the 80 EDH gear, whatever it's called.
Yeah. And they kept swinging the camera so much around. It was like, whoa, what happened? And then you were like, oh, they changed the Mappa. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh,
they with the 3D.
Okay, all right, yeah. Because I'm like, when did we get to Spider-Man? Like, it felt like Spider-Man for real.
It's 3D,
but it was that change up, yeah.
3D was like, we do 2D artwork here. Yeah. They're like, well, y'all won't work fast enough. We're going to this 3D art house that can do it too.
I'd be curious as to who does like track selection. I know track selection is a big deal in music. Well, at least it was back in the late '90s and early 2000s. You know, how the tracks go down is going to determine if everybody's going to listen to your entire album or not, right? You know, if you put the number one hit number one, they're probably not going to get past like, you know, the first 2 or 3 tracks and kind of be done with it, because there's going to be some mid-tempo kind of stuff going on. So I'd be curious to talk to whoever it was that selected which episode went first, because I thought Herder Boy was a really good way to kind of like kick it off. It looked good, it had a great story, everything was clean, and then they got really like, once they hooked you, they were like, all right, I'm gonna throw out Spirit Racer because it's crazy, but I got you hooked. And I think if Spirit Racer would have happened like a little bit further down, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, because I might have had a little bit of eye fatigue from watching. But I was fresh. I'm fresh on Generation Fire, and that's the second episode. So to me, I'm already hyped up from the first one. So we got into the second one. Me and Chuck was like, oh my God, they're doing all of this. It might not have felt that way had it been a little bit further down the track, you know, once that eye fatigue kind of like catches on and stuff. So I liked the way that there's like highs and lows on the list. And then they kind of like save, like for me, I thought Stardust was best in show. And then they saved that like right towards the end, just when you think you might be waning and getting a little bit tired. Episode 8, Stardust comes in and it's like, no, we still got this beautiful thing that we're going to show you. And then they kind of like let you down kind of easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the selection was really good. Their 10 properties. If they were to do another generation, say Generation Water or Generation Air, what kind of stories would y'all want to see?
Curious about like they cover a lot of like elements of Afrofuturism, but I guess like I'm trying to find an in between of like modern day but ultra old too, but like I guess different time periods, or I guess galaxies or whatever, that are different from what we saw here. And I guess more stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me personally, I'm thinking classic African mythos.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories I've only heard in summary, and I know that in all the countries there's variations of all those, because there's no real Nigeria. It's 10,000 languages and 10,000 people there, different nations there. So I want to hear all their variations of these mythos they created. Like who is Oshun, who's Aye, and see who are these gods they've always talked about for 30,000 years before white people came and interrupted them.
Yeah, I'm gonna ditto that too, because I like mythology and gods. That's why I think I liked parts of Toto too, because it had a god sequence in 9.
So I heard an old saying, and I'm not sure who said it. I'm not even sure if this was actually said, but I heard someone, maybe an artist one time, a music artist, say that when you're making albums, the first album that you make is for your block. You make that for your neighborhood. You know, so, you know, if nobody else likes it, your neighborhood loves it. Your second album, now you make that one for the world. To get the world to understand what your block is like, what your neighborhood is like, what your life is like, but you make that one for the world. And then it's not until your third album that you start making music for yourself. I don't care about anybody else. I got a couple of great albums. Now I'm making the music I want to make. I think this first time out, the Kizazi Moto Generation Fire made music for their block. I mean, they made, these are for them. I think kind of what you two were just saying, I would like to see them make an anthology series for the world. Now, help me to understand you. Unless you specifically study these cultures, even we're Black people, but I don't know anything about Zimbabwean culture. I know about apartheid in South Africa, and okay, Trevor Noah, and oh, by the way, they also got Charlize Theron. How the hell does that work? Whatever. But
And Elon Musk.
and
He's South African.
Yeah, he is South African. So I would like, just like you said, help the rest of the world understand the beauty and the wonder that is, because Africa is not a monolith. It's actually, many, many countries. So break those up and help us understand each one of those companies or countries that does something for the anthology. I think that would be dope. And then after that, I make whatever you want. But I think to help us understand, what was your boy in American Gods?
Anasi.
Anasi, yeah. Like Anasi, what people don't realize is that what I heard, and this may not be true either, that originally, like, that's like the first Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That
he's a spider god.
He's like a trickster god.
Yeah, he's Loki. He's a trickster god.
Loki and Spider-Man rolled into one. So shit like that, like, help us understand that. The other chick, the one the woman from American Gods, who's like the goddess of like whatever, she's eating people with her crotch, like
Bass. Yeah, Bass. Yeah.
That's who it was.
Bass.
Wait, what?
Bad. Yeah, so she helps the souls of men.
Yeah.
She flowers the souls of men.
Yeah, they think they getting some cheeks, and they don't know what
they're getting devoured by her. They're getting devoured by her. Their greed. Yeah. And she's Egyptian.
Yeah.
And she's Wakandan apparently. Because that's where the panther that he talks to is Bass. It's her.
Billiquist.
Billiquist. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, but she's the representation of Bass, right?
Yeah, right. I thought she was representation of Bass.
So something.
Maybe not. I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah.
But that would be nice to have that even flesh out. It's something interesting. Kizazi Moto, could they do something like that, but it doesn't have to be based in Africa?
Okay, that was going to be my thing.
What if it was based in South America? What if it's based in the Caribbean? Places where, what if it was based in Australia, but with the Aborigines, the indigenous people, of like follow the paths and the travels of people of African descent across the world? Like, that would be good.
Yeah.
Oh, you stole mine. That's what I was gonna say. You stole mine. I was gonna say the story of the spread of the African diaspora.
That could be true, because like, so funny, me and another friend of ours were talking, and we were talking about history, and he was like, there are dark-skinned people everywhere. And we're not talking, he's like, we're not talking about light-skinned people. We're not talking about light dark-skinned people, no, dark-skinned people everywhere, natively to those lands. Everybody started off as dark, no matter where they are. Because like light-skinned people were something that was new, done by imperialism. It wasn't like that. Like, you look at the original indigenous people of India, they're all dark-skinned.
Even the English, like there was like that recontextual, like they found a skeleton, they did the image, and he had dark skin.
Yeah. The Celtics are, for example, dark-skinned people.
The Japanese, dark skin.
The Moors were Spain.
Even before the Moors.
Mm-hmm.
The Moors are reclamation of people that were there before them. That's how they came back to Europe even before them. Like the Olmecs. The Olmecs have people of various shades. They have Indians. They have their big statues of Indians. They have their big statues of Asian looking people. They have their statues of African looking people. And they're all roughly around the same time.
Another thing I'll add to what I want is Disney to promote this and not and make a film festival that there are things about this instead of like put it up for a hot second and then throw it away so people can watch this.
That part. Disney Plus did a disservice to this property.
Yeah.
To say the least. It did a disservice. Here it is. You put the money in for the animation. You had a completely South African studio go around the continent and get other talent to tell their stories with them, and then you don't support it at all. I don't know if they still supported it in Disney Plus in Africa. They may not even supported it there.
You know, the funny thing is, I almost feel like this would not have been made at all if it wasn't for the success of the original Black Panther movie.
Probably not.
Because if you think about how long it takes to animate a part, because I mean, like Disney didn't even believe in Black Panther as a product anyway.
No.
Yep. And I think the city I'm in, Memphis, was one of the they got most of the ticket sales in Memphis.
Johnny Randolph came in. Randy came and said they did a disservice. They did do a disservice to this.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
They took an underserved group and underserved them.
I mean, like the trailer itself, there is one trailer, and since when does Disney do one trailer? And it's more of a teaser than a trailer. It's extremely short, and I think I remember seeing it once.
I only saw it on Twitter. That was it.
I want to say it might have been Twitter or Instagram that I saw it one time.
I saw like a little bit of advertisement through Facebook, Disney Plus, but I saw it like maybe once or twice, and then it stopped. I think more people from my circle started sharing like posters because it wasn't getting enough attention.
And I'm just saying, in 2023, there cannot be an excuse that we didn't know how to market it, or we don't, you've got to have some people in the room. And I'm not even saying they had to be, African Americans, but, if you're working with these folks from over there, somebody knows how to market it, or is that just our estimation because that's what we got in America? Was it marketed really great, Disney Plus and
They basically cut and released it when it came out.
I had a couple of things that I did that I wanted on my wish list for the next one if they do it. One of them is I kind of want to kind of go back into their past from their perspective. The first thing that came to mind was like Shaka Zulu. I thought a story about Shaka Zulu animated would be insane. I think it would just be dope. That type of warrior.
That may be great for Triggerfishers to do because it's South African.
Yeah.
Shaka Zulu's South African.
To me, it feels like a layup, but
yeah,
what do I know? Another one is I've been pumping this one for a minute because it's just interesting. Mappa did Vinland Saga, which is about Vikings, Japanese people talking about Vikings. I thought that was very interesting, and kind of flip that if there was something from the continent talking about the perspective of how they see another culture. Like I would be curious to see, like how East Africa would tell the story of French colonizers, because the only viewpoint I've ever had came from my books, from my school books that was made in Texas by Republican people that run the distribution centers. Well, anyways, I think that would be dope to hear different perspectives of that, and then also maybe even fall back from the spectacle and the action, and then just talk about just the neighborhood of what's going on within the neighborhood in real time. You can still tell a good story about whoever we've seen fishermen, surfers, farmers, just like regular people, and then get like a slice of life. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. out of that, and then animated. I know the Japanese do it very, very, very well. Be it manga and or animation, slice of life stories are just a part. Everything doesn't have to be power ups, bombs, and super speed to still be fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. People don't care fair. So y'all know the comedian Godfrey, right?
Yeah.
Y'all know Godfrey is a Jew.
No.
He's from Nigeria. Yeah, Nigeria.
Mary was Nigerian.
Yeah.
Nigeria has the largest population of Jews in the world.
Of Black Jews.
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 They refer to themselves as Jews. The Yoruba tribe is Jew. They're all Jews. And
Well, it said that the original Jews are all Black folks.
yeah, that, and so they're in the Yoruba tribe. They actually, when they fled from Kenya and somewhere else, and they fled into Nigeria, and they set up their tribe there. As Yoruba. Yeah. And so he's tries to practice all the traditions. They believe in all the books, and nobody talks about them. He said what they talk about is the European Jews, which is another tribe that fled up during during the Ottoman Empire, that was created during the Ottoman Empire.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. That's just like the keeper of the flame now is the Roman Catholic Church. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, how'd you do that? How the Christianity become the Roman Catholic Church? Yeah, so it's similar. Yeah. So that story has never been told. Like, here it is, you had this large population of Jews in the middle of Nigeria.
Yeah, Disney ain't making that. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was like, yeah, they're not making
that. But there's a history there about even before.
You're right.
Even before they were Jews, what were they considered? Like we considered ourselves that.
I better be in
that was a new word put upon us based on our religious ideology.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fascinating and that's interesting.
All the things that we came up with, be it the spread of African diaspora, the Shaka Zulu thing, the Vinland Saga, and the references. Disney's not doing none of that though. That's the thing. Like, this is a wish list. Disney's gonna keep it like.
But Triggerfish can do it though. Triggerfish can do it if they want to. Hopefully they had enough money from this Disney, and they found that they sourced enough talent in that across the continent of Africa, and they figured out how to do it. They can partner with some Asian studios, be it in Korea or Japan or Singapore or Vietnam or China. China right now is doing a killing in animation right now. China's doing a killing across everything. They're like, we got our kids looking at science on TikTok. That's all they look at. So we're gonna have them. We can pump out everything. We don't need anybody. We just pump it all out now.
Listen, now we good.
We got 1 billion people that need to do something.
Yeah, they have like an influencer camp. Like
they have influencer camps.
Yeah, it's the same as the military boot camp.
Yeah, very, very similar. Very similar. It's similar to the J-pop camps or the Korean K-pop camps. Your job is to be famous in the world. You're going to speak 7 languages. You're going to go out here and be the next Michelle Yeoh. That is your job. You're going to infiltrate. You're going to infiltrate Hollywood, and you're going to crush it.
Just think about, because we can't get a live action version. You were saying like a story of Shaka Zulu.
Yeah.
Story of Mansa Musa.
Yes. That's supposed to be coming live action though. Supposedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly, supposedly.
I know.
Yeah, I just hate.
Yeah.
I need to know.
I heard about that story.
If they don't do it justice,
they're gonna do it like they did Mark.
Well, it's done by what's his name that did Creed and Black Panther.
Ryan Coogler.
It's supposed to be Coogler. Yeah, it's supposed to be a Coogler project.
He said Mansa Musa. Sorry.
Mansa Musa.
Richest person to ever walk the planet.
The richest person that ever lived. Ever.
Yeah.
He was the king, the emperor of Mali.
Yeah, Mali. And he decided to bankrupt Egypt.
Yeah, they said he was worth like $400 trillion or something like that.
They said
when he marched, he came through, he bankrupted countries.
Wow.
Yeah. He gave away all his wealth.
Yeah, it said he's even richer than Jeff Bezos. Like
Yeah,
if you take in today.
yeah.
Yeah, he would kill himself if he had Jeff Bezos' money.
What is this? This pocket change.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't have cared about it. You know, he's doing his pilgrimage and he didn't care about it.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I trust Kugler. We'll see.
Okay, we're gonna close up. I think we talked about this enough. If you haven't seen
I'm messing around here, Brian Kugler, an accident.
Kizazi Moto, you probably should watch it. We're gonna go around the room and ask everybody what they re-rate this thing. I'm gonna start with you, Centel. What do you re-rate?
Oh, it still gets a binge worthy. It's one of those things that if I do mention Love, Death, and Robots, because Azimo was coming like right after it. I think Love, Death, and Robots is like the new standard kind of
Pinnacle.
it's a bit of the pinnacle. But if I do mention it, I'm gonna be like, oh, but you need to watch Kizazi Moto, right? I think it deserves to be in those same conversations. My vote for it is not going to falter at all. It is binge worthy. If anything, it's been strengthened by this conversation.
Yep. Catherine, what is your re-rating of Kizazi Moto?
I definitely think people should watch it. It's definitely like a must watch. There's still some episodes that like they're still not like I still prefer other episodes, but just because I want people to watch the this anthology and people should watch it, I'll bump it up to a binge worthy.
Okay.
So.
And Rakai, what do you re-rate it?
Again, one of those times like on Ted Lasso and some other stuff, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. I wish we had something higher than a binge out or binge worthy. I'm still a binge worthy. I think it's an excellent property. And Centella is right. Like season 1 and season 3 of Love, Death, and Robots is fantastic. Season 2 is it's okay. But I mean, they also did Star Wars Visions. So Triggerfish is killing it. They're doing some strong work right now, and I really did like all 10 of these episodes, and I cannot promote this enough. If there's any property we should promote, this is one of those.
Okay. I'm keeping the binge worthy based on what everybody said here. I think it's definitely worth the watch. Even if you're not into animated properties, you should be in the short storytelling. Like they do short form very, very, very well. They tell really good stories in 13 to 15 minutes. And I think that will conclude our show for today. You all, anything you want to share with anybody, Catherine? Anything you want to share? Let people know how to reach you, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, hi, I'm Catherine. Sorry. You can reach me I'm on Instagram as GoCatCreate, and yeah, I think just GoCatCreate's my handle, and yeah.
How about you, Centel? Any way people can reach you and how they should look out for you?
Oh yeah, you can just reach me at Centel on YouTube, just YouTube for youtube.com/Centel, and also on the international channel as well, youtube.com/Cinema Mosaic, where it's just all international stuff. Right now, we're going hardcore into South Korean content, but we will be going to different parts of the world because, yo, there's dopeness around the world. It doesn't have to be just Eurocentric Western stuff. Go out there, dig in the crates. I promise you can find some gems.
And you, Rakai?
As always, every Wednesday you can find me here on BingeWorthy, the Geekish Network, my home. But if you happen to be on social media at DiamondMind, DIAMONDMYND.
Okay. And for me, just Charles Babb and the Geekish Network. I'm always here Monday through Friday and definitely here on Wednesday for BingeWorthy. If you didn't know, the Geekish Network is a network of BIPOC people, that's Black Indigenous people of color. And we service the nerd community, the geek community, the community that's filled with people just like you. So if you love our network, please come support our network, support Centel's network. Also, I want to give a shout out to Digital Click for always handling our layouts and our marketing materials. Also, shout out to Rodney for being a great technical producer, technical director. we're under the weather right now. Randy, shout out to you because I know you're out here under the weather and you came into the chat. And Mark, thank you for always showing up. And please share us with all your friends or family and tell them to tune in every Wednesday, same bat time, which is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and anywhere in between if you're in between there for BingeWorthy, where we binge a show. We binge a season of a show, or we binge the first season of the show, and we tell you if you should binge it or not. We try our best not to spoil it. Not to this show, we did our best not to spoil the show for you, but we hope if you haven't watched it, that it gets a full binge out from us, because Kizazi Moto gets a full binge out, and we think it's a sin what Disney Plus did by not promoting the show. This is one of their better shows, 10 episodes. It's one of the longer shows, too. They got 10 episodes. They usually do 6 to 8 on everything. It's one of their better shows. I'm not gonna talk about the other shows right now because they have a show running right now that I heard is breaking my heart. I haven't seen it yet, but we're gonna be binging that one soon too. And that is Ahsoka, you guys. We will be binging that on the network soon. What's up?
This last episode. Whew.
Wait, it's the last episode that just aired?
No,
episode 5. It's not the last one. There's 8 total for the season, but episode 5 came out last night.
Last night, yeah.
And they cracked their knuckles.
Yeah.
we will be binging that show. We have some other shows to binge. I don't know what's coming up next. Johnny Randolph could probably tell me that, but I don't know what it is. I can't recall from the list. Rakai's looking up the list right now. Let me know what the show is.
How did you know? I absolutely am. And let's see.
Have you looked at this? My Friend Superman. Have you watched that?
Oh,
I liked it. I like it.
Harley Quinn is next.
Harley Quinn is next.
Nice. Yeah. Wait,
I haven't watched that this season yet. So
season 3.
I have not watched it yet either.
Me neither. Oh my god, I gotta start that today. Oh goodness.
I've definitely been watching that. I'm just waiting on the next episode. So
okay, you want to?
It's not done yet, so it's still unfolding.
You want to review it with us, Catherine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Harley Quinn.
You want to review it with us, Centel?
I can catch up. It's what we're like. It's 8 episodes. I can catch up by then.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We can see what we can do.
Yeah, I'm gonna try because I hate to admit. I gotta start with like episode 1, season 1.
Oh.
Like I've watched a couple episodes here and there, but I just never.
I wish I could be you.
Yeah.
To watch it again for the first time.
Watch it again for the first time. Oh my god!
I'm so glad that show exists.
I'll try to get the 24th in before next Wednesday.
You can. Trust me.
We'll get through them quick.
Yes, we are. Rodney, we are going to do Foundation season 2, I think.
Rakai is helping me out with Foundation, and Foundation is good. It's gumbo. Like it's a lot. it's a lot.
Okay.
But it's
good. We are doing that. So we do have a lot of great shows coming on, you guys. And so tune in, tell your friends. Thank you, Mark, for always showing up. You know, Peter Griffin shows up. There's a bunch of y'all that show up all the time. I'm going to share this more because, man, Harley Quinn season 3, I think people need to watch that show. That show is, oh my god!
I'm so glad it exists. It's
me too.
It's awesome, and
that's the thing. I've enjoyed the episodes that I've seen. Like I might not have started at episode 1. I think I've seen most of season 1, but I just did not keep going for whatever reason. So.
I wish I could be.
There's a black female lead for the boys spinoff. Right?
Yeah, Gen Z or Gen V.
Yeah, I think that comes out in like a couple weeks too. I want to say
we have that too coming up. There's so much good television coming out during the strike. It's going to come to a halting stop eventually.
See, I'm catching up on older TV.
Speaking of which, we absolutely support all of the writers and all of the actors. And our one of our resident actors is away tonight. Courtney, she's at a festival with like her own film, right?
Own film.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Congratulations, Courtney.
Yes.
We love you for it. Congratulations. She got her film in the festival, you guys.
Hell yeah. Oh, so,
That's you just like
No, that was
that's
the
right,
appropriate
Catherine. That's on
response.
appropriate.
No,
That's
that is the
appropriate.
I wasn't
appropriate
sure
response.
about the cussing. Okay.
It's cuss. We cussed in this show.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
We're a grown adult show here. We're a grown
Okay.
adult.
Yeah, I was very mature this show. Like no F bombs. Like you know what? I grew up on this
Yeah.
show right here tonight. So
Hell is not a cuss word. It's a place.
That's true.
It's
There's
a place for good people to go.
yeah. There's also a city called
well,
Hale.
the parties are.
All the parties are. With that being said, you guys, thank you for tuning in. We truly appreciate you. And thank you for tolerating me being under the weather and talking kind of droggy. Shout out to Johnny Randolph. He always holds us down. And we're back next week where we're doing Harley Quinn season 3. And when Rakai's going to catch all the way up, we're going to see the joy on his face when he comes back about how did I miss this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And you have to watch the Valentine's special too.
Yeah.
You have to watch the Valentine's special.
Okay.
Yeah. With that being said, thank you. With that, y'all have a good night and see you next week. Peace.
Bye.